Also, it does not recognize borders. Now that is absolutely fabulous if you think about it. No one can censor you in a way. I mean, think about the internet today. There is very little censorship in reality. Now that could be a good thing if the message is good, but think about also the negative part of this. Also, infinite broadcasting space. I mean, imagine how many radio stations, pirate or otherwise, can broadcast on that particular bandwidth, or how much information you can download, or transmit, or upload, or the such. I mean, it's just absolutely, if you think about it, it's virtually infinite. The other day, I was listening to a radio interview with one of the famous graffiti artists in Germany. There's a problem now in Germany because they want to clean up areas of Berlin where it's graffiti is quite a prominent feature, and they think it's an eyesore. And there was this interview with the graffiti artist, and the interview was asking him whether he thinks that this is going to restrict his movement. He said, "Of course not. I mean, walls are my sheets of paper. I mean, look at everywhere. I mean, there's an infinite amount of walls, and that's just in Berlin. So imagine, and that's a graffiti artist. So imagine someone who works on the internet or has a blog or so on and so forth. And also, which is very, very important, it's affordable. I mean, even think about all the forms that everyone can actually attain to. I mean, the mere fact of a tattoo, for instance. Some of you followed the controversy about football players lifting their team shirts after scoring a goal and then having a political message. You know, the famous Brazilian player Kaká. What's his message all the time? Jesus owns me, or I belong to Jesus. He's a very religious player, and that is his message. And whenever he comes on, he has his white vest, and then he puts on his shirt. Everyone has read the message. When he scores a goal, and he scores quite a lot of goals seemingly, he shows the message. We have in Egypt, for instance, Mohamed Abu Trika, who's also a very famous player, one of the best African players, and he also sent and this is where the controversy arises, he showed his solidarity with the people of Gaza earlier this year after scoring a goal. And that got people in a fluster. Is that good? Is that bad? For instance, when I was in Beirut, there was this discussion about certain players, when they score a goal, they go and make sujood. Is that good or is that a political message? Is that something that we should ban, or all these things? So, generally speaking, it's affordable. Everyone can afford to somehow gauge into and get a grasp within the world of media. A couple more minutes, I'm going to run through, inshallah. Now, the crucial role of mainstream media, I'm going to run through this, the mass production of influence on public opinion. Do I need to say more? Acceptability, credibility, and legitimacy. All these words, they're very, very important when it comes to the mainstream media. They want to be accepted simply because it brings in profits, as well as you get a listening audience. You get people's ears, and therefore your messages are more efficiently received. That's how you define an efficient and a good channel of media or otherwise. For instance, the question, the whole story. Are we told the whole story? Does the media have an obligation to convey the whole story or otherwise? Access. Now, we've said that everyone can actually reach into the media, but what if I, for instance, say, hang on, I'm a license payer, I'm a TV license payer, and I'd like to have my say on the BBC, for instance. Would they allow me that? Would they afford me that? Would they allow me when I'm on? Would they allow me sufficient time to actually reflect my ideas or what I'm thinking? Or would they not? Would they choose who speaks on this particular issue? So access, who gets to have their say, and then accountability and regulation. What if the media gets it wrong? What if people die as a result? We're talking about creating change or instigating change. We're talking about influencing people's choices. What if they lead to catastrophic outcomes? Who holds the media accountable? And what forms of regulation do we have? Going on. Facts to be considered when we're talking about the media. Also, I think this will have some sort of reflection on what will come later on. The quantitative explosion in terms of numbers. in alternative media, including the internet, have made news and debates more accessible than ever before. The link... sorry, I read something from my screen but I forgot to put some on yours. Also, the link between media establishments and the markets. Now, whilst it's all good and proper for a particular TV channel to say, you know, I want so many viewers. But what if, and this is unfortunately the fact of life, the media channel is solely obsessed with how much profit it makes as a result of the subscriptions, the people who text in and the such, and therefore basically it has to pander to what they want rather than to its own message, its own thought, its own mission. So basically you have to, it's what the people want. And often people want, you know, things that are extremely, sometimes distasteful, sometimes otherwise we wouldn't have pornography being, you know, some of the largest visited areas of the internet that there are today. It's unfortunate, but it's what the people want. It's what brings in profit and money. Also, media cannot be isolated from other dimensions of society, including government, political, public attitudes, and the like. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go into that. It's a very interesting and important discussion, especially about trying to convince people with a political idea, trying to assess how they will react to a situation, either political, economic, or social, or the like. And of course, I had a long thing about the economic crisis and how the media played a role, either in, you know, trying to mitigate that or cementing the problems that we had and how the public reacted to the media. Now, the main elements of the media, now, the components that make up the media. When we're talking about the media, what are we talking about? We're talking about the message, essentially the message. What is the message? Secondly, the method of delivery. Is it a TV, read, printed, press, internet, SMS, mobile, you know, graffiti on a wall? What is it? The method of delivery, and then the audience. Those are the main components that you have to think about when you're coming into the world of the media. Now, there are hidden elements. Those are the main elements. But there are hidden elements. And they are, if I can get this right so I know what I'm looking at, the proprietors. Who owns the media? When you say that Rupert Murdoch owns Sky Corporation, it makes all the difference in the world. You know, for instance, when you watch a particular channel called Fox, and it has this coverage of what's happening in Iran or Afghanistan or Iraq, and you're thinking to yourself, hang on. I mean, is this right? Is this wrong? It's confusing you. And then all of a sudden someone says, hey, hang on, do you know who owns Fox? Do you know what Fox's agenda is? And you think, right, okay, now I know. The issue of proprietorship is very, very important. Also, the markets. People need to make money in order to stay. It costs a lot of money to be on the Astra channel or the Sky orbit or the such. It costs a lot of money just to be there. Never mind production costs and employees and the such. People need to be profitable. The influence of the markets. For instance, one thing that our Arab audiences will note, in fact, not even just our Arab audiences, Al Jazeera International channel. You'll note that they have very, very, very few commercial adverts at all. In fact, the Arab channel almost doesn't. The only companies in the Arab channel, I'll let you into this, most of you who don't watch the Arabic Al Jazeera, it has no commercial advertisements apart from the companies that are owned by the Qatari government or the Qatari Emir. He basically tells them, you have to advertise in Al Jazeera. Otherwise, it doesn't make money. Why? Because any company that advertises with Al Jazeera will be cut off from its main supplier, i.e., for instance, Saudi Arabia or Egypt.